Hello and welcome to the Tech in the Hood podcast. I'm your host, Ahmed Flex Omar. Tech in the Hood is a storytelling podcast that explores the past, present, and future of Chicago's cultural identity through conversations about community and technology. Each week, I reconnect with the friends and mentors who have shared this journey and spotlight new voices and innovators building the future of the Tech in the Hood. Welcome back to Tech in the Hood, the show that brings you all things arts, business, culture, and technology. Today I'm here with the entire crew of NTG. Most of you guys know Bashir. He's been on the show multiple times, but we got brother Brian and Tavarian. Actually, Bashir, since you've been here multiple times, you want to introduce your business partners?
Sure. So these are my business partners. Tavarian Dinkins, Brian Franklin, the brain trust of NTG, not the entire team, but the head.
Right, the leadership team.
The leadership team, right, there you go. These are the guys who make all things technology happen.
Sure.
And they let me hang around with them, which is great. So I get to learn a lot.
Yeah. So we talked a little bit about, NTG on the show. But we didn't dig deep into the origin story. I mean, startup, the south side and west side of Chicago.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah, we started, what was it, 99?
Somewhere around there.
98, 99. Yeah. At that time, I was working at the Westside Health Authority in the technology community director role, technology coordinator. And these guys were working in the corporate field. I won't step on their toes, let them talk about it.
Yeah, where were you guys at?
Yeah, where were you at that time?
When people were freaking out about Y2K.
Oh, yeah, that was, we were working at Computer Science Corporation. We were both working a contract that CSC had with General Motors, the electric motor division out in McCook, Illinois. And at the time, I think Brian was on the network team, the engineering side, and I was on the system side, the Windows, all that kind of stuff. And so I was really intrigued with the networking because whenever they had problems, Brian was able to use sniffing tools, which I had known about, and was able to troubleshoot and see traffic across the network. So eventually I joined the network team as well. Brian was actually my senior at one point. He taught me a lot, taught me really everything I knew about the networking side. And so with working with Brian, we did a project around the country. I'll hand it off to him at this point.
Oh, okay. So General Motors, we worked at the location where the EMD division, electromotive division, where they make the trains. So they had a project to go around the country to their rail facilities, which hadn't had an upgrade since the 70s. So they were still on the old amber and the green screens. So our job was to go out to set up the network and set up the switches and things like that. So it was a good project. I had just quit my job working for the phone company, climbing the telephone poles, putting in phone lines. So I made the transition to the network. So when that project came up, they needed us to travel. So I forgot the exact circumstance, but Tavarian ended up traveling with me.
Yeah.
So that was a fun time. We learned a lot. I mean, we get out there, we work, and our goal was to hurry up and finish so we can go do what we want to do. But the key was to make sure everything was in place.
Yeah.
One of the most memorable trips were to California to, what was that?
Santa Barbara?
Santa Barbara.
Santa Barbara,
there you go. To Santa Barbara. So we were there, we went on a Monday to California. We finished working Tuesday. Our boss said, well, you need to work there Thursday. Don't make sense to go home. I said, okay, fine. So for Wednesday, we had all day to do what we want to. Thursday, we go to Santa Barbara. Our contact never responded. So I said, we could just stay here till Friday. Right. So from Tuesday
Santa Barbara's nice.
to Friday, we had an all-expense paid trip to Santa Barbara. So that was
horse riding on the beach.
Oh, man. I didn't see the horse, but It was beautiful.
One thing that was funny, I don't know if you were near me. I was in the ocean, like knee deep. I don't swim well, so I didn't want to go way out. And I'm trying to think. Was I on the phone? I think I was talking to my wife. And all of a sudden, something smacked me in the leg. Ooh. So right away, because of the condition of watching TV, I thought it was a shark, but it was a piece of wood. So that stood out to me.
So you didn't experience Shark Week?
No.
That was before Sharknado was
Sharknado.
Brian was still shook.
Right. So that position ran its course, but all during that time, we were talking about starting our own IT company. Mm-hmm. I mean, when we traveled, the only time we called home is when we physically couldn't type in something. But beyond that, we just handled everything A to Z. And I remember walking, we were going to dinner, and we were saying, I said, we can start our own company. Tavarian like, I don't know. I said, no, we can start our own company. So that ended up, we coalesced, and that ended up becoming Net-Telligence Group.
So both of you know each other because you've worked together.
Correct.
So
Right.
how did Bashir come in the picture?
So
Bashir and I have been running around the South Side. So, I've known Bashir since high school.
Okay.
I think
Where'd
I
y'all
was
go to high school?
at North Shore Country Day School
Okay.
in Winnetka. And so, did you come in your sophomore year?
junior year.
Junior year. Okay. So yeah, Bashir was a year behind me. And, there wasn't a lot of African-American students at the school at the time. And so I think we were one of a handful of African-American males. And we both commuted from the South Side. So we were on the trains, and we talked, and we really bonded. And we've been friends ever since. So so I knew Bashir. I think it was right around the time I think WHA was trying to implement DSL. And I think I went over to help you out with it, and you were saying
You're gonna have to explain what that is for our younger viewers.
oh yeah, that was before high-speed internet as it is today. That was sort of like before people used to have modems, and they would dial. You would use a phone line to dial out.
Yeah.
And then DSL was a much faster access to the internet. Where you could actually stream video and watch it. Before it was just like, wow, there's a photo on a website. That was new. To have a website or their colors on the webpage, you know.
Yeah.
So to watch actual music video was groundbreaking. And Bashir, I guess the light bulb went on in his head. He said, "Hey man, you know how to do this?" I'm like, "We do this all around the country. This is nothing. This is." And he said, "Oh, we need to come together." I said, "You know what? I got a buddy at work. He already has an entrepreneurial bug because he had already started a company of his own." And I said, "You know what? I need to put the two together."
Yeah.
Because I had my capabilities, but Brian and I have become really good friends at that time, almost like brothers from relying on each other, traveling around the country. And again, of course, our history with Bashir, like brothers as well. And I said, you know what, because sort of all like minds, let's kind of form together like a Voltron with only 3 pieces, but it makes they come together like a Voltron, or something, and it just meshed. Like we all hit it off. We're all almost like we had been friends forever.
That's
laughing,
incredible.
joking, and kind of having the same direction in life, ideas and goals. And so
Yeah.
it was been a good fitness. As you see, we're still
at it.
enjoying each other's company.
Yeah.
And, so.
Yeah. So I mean, that was Web 1.0, right?
Oh man, that was. I wouldn't even call it that. That was.
Oof.
Yeah.
We're at point one.
Yeah.
Point one.
Yeah.
People were still doing like those bulletin boards and
Oh yeah.
Oof.
Right.
Oof.
IRC.
We might have to for the Aspire Center that's coming up. Maybe we'll do like an art exhibit.
we should.
Yeah.
On that,
Yeah.
you know,
that would be nice.
get all of that because it's really cool to show the history, right?
absolutely.
And sort of to appreciate, that journey. I mean,
Yeah.
right now we're at an
Yeah.
age of AI and Chat GPT where
Right,
you can
right.
get anything.
That's right.
Back then, you
Oh yeah.
had to work,
Oh yeah.
You didn't.
or
have,
you had to fight people for the phone.
Oh yeah. That's right. That's right, man.
Yeah, man. Well, so we started doing projects, on the side, after hours, on the weekends,
At night. Yeah.
at night. I mean, we spent so many nights,
Oh, yeah.
all night long,
Sleepless
setting up
nights.
systems,
Yeah.
servers. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because there were so many organizations that needed that help.
Yeah.
Setting up.
Yeah, you mentioned in
DSL.
season 1,
Right.
all the equipment that was just
Yeah.
all over
They were getting-
the west side.
Correct. Yeah.
And-
And this is what they were facing on a daily basis at General Motors. And so it just made sense for us to come together and say, hey, you know, we can set this service. We can commit ourselves to doing the service for you. And
and for younger people that are listening, this is before cloud-based solutions.
Oh, man.
yeah, everything was local.
Oh, yeah.
Local
Everything
area
was
network.
local.
This is back when clouds were actually clouds in the sky.
Yeah.
I remember having conversations with clients. They were afraid to put their website in to host it with the hosting company.
Right.
Because people still had servers in the closet and their website was in the closet
servers.
as well.
That's funny.
So just think, just like people now are trying to transition to the cloud. Oh, where's my data? Do I control it? It was the same discussion about a website.
Yeah.
Website,
back in
email.
the day. Email. Another one that was local. It was a conversation like, you don't need to have that in the closet anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For
It's
real.
funny how things change, but it's similar conversations now with similar concepts, you know.
No, absolutely.
So
The name
go ahead.
NTG.
NTG. Oh, Net-Telligence Group.
Yeah.
That was actually Tavarian's idea.
Okay.
Yeah, he came
it
up
was
with that
you.
name.
Alright.
Yeah,
Oh, okay,
he sure
well.
did. Yep.
Haven't seen the royalty checks. No, I'm kidding.
They're coming.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah. I guess it's a combination of networks, telephone,
Intelligence.
and
That's
then
all
intelligence
Yeah.
all together, and we're a group, and
Yeah.
that's how it makes it still makes sense.
Yeah.
I mean, not so much telephone anymore, but
Right.
we're still a group.
Still networks, right?
Yeah, we've evolved to cybersecurity. So we kind of shortened the name, make just an acronym, just make it easier for people to remember for marketing purposes. NTG.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. But I would be remiss if I didn't say that Ahmed had a key role in that intelligence group's formation and progress. And I don't know if you want to talk about that, but I will for a second.
Sure. Yeah. No, go.
Western Health Authority
Go
was
ahead.
our first contract. They gave us our first opportunity, to work with the business there. Our second contract was with Shore Bank and the Shore Bank Neighborhood Institute, and that's where we set up that lab. And Ahmed was our first employee because we brought him in order to do some of the training.
That's right.
And to work, because they had a library in addition to the computer lab. So Ahmed was there working. I even have pictures of you there. Just a quick backstory, But seriously, because he's a very humble guy. He's always hustling. But I just want to give a shout out to you, man, and just to honor you for a second. This guy, he comes here from Somalia as a refugee.
Somaliland.
Somaliland. I'm sorry. From Somaliland as a asylum political refugee by way of Abu Dhabi. I met the guy. How old were you? 17? 18?
Just turning 19.
Turning 19. Okay. In my eyes, you still a kid. You know what I mean? Even though I'm not that much older than you. So I meet him. The first thing he says to me is, I just came from Abu Dhabi where the cars are like toys. And so I was like, it kind of took me aback. I'm like, who says something like that? You know what I mean? And, but I was intrigued and I was like, okay, let's talk. So we got to talking. He started to explain that he had some computer skills and he was able to demonstrate them. We get to talking. I said, man, I really like this guy. I said, somebody I can work with. And so he comes with me to Western Health Authority and works with me there. Doing the implementation of the web TVs and set up the computer labs and all that. And, we really hit it off. And one thing I noticed about Ahmed is that he's tenacious. He works really hard and he gets along with everybody. Yeah. You know what I mean? Makes friends with everybody. I was like, this brother's going to be successful. Now, mind you, he comes here, just starting off, goes to the West Side working, goes to school, Loyola, works so he's in school and he's working, and at the same time supporting his mom and his 3 sisters. So people didn't know all of that. That this man is supporting a family and working and going to school, and now you've developed your own business. You've gotten several medals and accolades from the federal government and the United Nations, and now doing things internationally. So, man, I just And I'm proud of you, man.
That's
I'm proud to know you.
Appreciate that.
Yeah.
I forgot the tissue box.
Yeah, I'm just saying, man. People need to know this. You know what I mean? Because you don't get a
inspiring.
chance to.
Yeah.
It sounds arrogant if you just tooting your own horn or
Right,
just
right,
talking about
right,
yourself.
right.
But
Yeah,
let
yeah.
me do it for you.
I
This
appreciate
brother's
that.
done a lot.
Yeah.
Appreciate that.
Yeah, man.
It's the whole reason why I'm doing the podcast.
Yeah, man. And thank you for including us in your podcast.
No, it's all about I've always been community first, right?
Yeah, man.
So I was
What's
blessed to meet you through family, and then go to the west side of Chicago, get that experience. What's funny is when I was going to Loyola, I'd bring kids from Loyola to the west side for gaming nights because the computers that we built were a lot more
Advanced.
advanced, and people can Google this if they're not familiar with this, but there's a thing called LAN parties, like local networks, and where this game that I introduced to the lab, that was Command and Conquer.
Yeah.
And so I used gaming, a lot in the programming to keep the kids, engaged.
Right.
But all of a sudden, I hooked Tavarian on it.
Yeah. Oh, I may introduce you to? I thought you guys were playing that at...
Actually, we played Command and Conquer. I don't know how to say this, but when we were working with the desktop team at
General Motors.
CSC, we actually embedded the game in the image. And so we would play
Oh wow!
at,
I didn't even know
night
that.
in the lab. And sometimes
That's why you were so good.
Exactly. So I'd already cut my teeth.
He didn't tell me
in the
that.
game. I was beating like two brutes at the same time. That's when you amongst those guys. That's if you were good.
Yeah.
That was like. So when I came to the West Side, I was like, "Oh, you guys aren't ready for me." You guys aren't ready for me.
You guys be playing that game all night long.
I was like, "What is this beginner's luck?"
Yeah, man. So, Command and Conquer. I spent many hours playing that game. Man.
Yeah, we played a lot.
Yeah.
I wasn't an early adopter, though.
Yeah.
I was just frustrated that you guys wanted to play all night long, and I had to
I
go.
remember that.
It was not
I
too
was
happy.
like, man, I'm out of here. Brian, you never played either, though. Right?
No, I was too busy studying. I didn't have time for games.
But sure got hooked.
They got me into it. They got me
hooked
into
on
it, man. To my own peril. No, I'm just no, it was fun, man. It's great for bonding.
Yeah.
Most definitely.
Strategy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's you can develop a lot of skills
Definitely.
through gaming. But how many of us knew back then that kids these days would make all this money doing gaming full time?
Oh wow.
That's
And
crazy.
universities will introduce like e-gaming as part of their curriculum, and we got esports and
Couldn't see that.
all this. Yep.
No, I couldn't have seen that one, man, coming. Exciting though.
Yeah,
You know?
I mean it's a different time. It's a different era. But in terms of skill set, both of you come from the networking world, right? Linux was a big thing.
Yep.
Is it still a big thing?
Oh yeah. Linux is silently running the world behind the scenes. I mean, most cloud computing. What's behind all of that is some variant of Linux. So if companies have virtual machines, these sort of like Windows servers that are running on a Linux back end. So it may not be as forward facing as or as popular as Mac OS or Windows, but it's there. I mean, it's gained in popularity amongst the cybersecurity community because there are a few distributions that are tailored specifically for cybersecurity related tasks. So it's sort of like things that the people who know.
People,
It's sort of
people,
like, but it's not an everyday name or brand that people could would recognize. But
just pull up. But you all are now focused in terms of day to day on cybersecurity mainly.
Primarily, yeah.
How did that shift happen?
Mr. Cyber?
Mr. Cyber.
We call him Big Cyber.
Big cyber.
20 years ago. I think it's just part of the evolution of the business. At first, we were kind of break fix, setting up computers and remote access and internet. But like everything else, the market shifts. And now that you have all this, Internet of Things and everything's online, you know, the hackers saw an opportunity that we could infect people's machines. So in the early days, it was just more of a nuisance, putting, you know, questionable content on your computer, making things pop up. But then they became wise and realized we can make money by taking people's data, holding the data hostage, because people may not realize this, but your most important asset is the data, not the device. You can easily replace your laptop or desktop, but you can't replace the data that you've accumulated and created over the years. So as that became more prolific, you know, people trying to figure out what can we do. At the same time, we were looking to kind of shift our business away from just day-to-day networking and setting up things to a more professional services business. So by certain circumstances, we joined this cybersecurity group, and he kind of laid out, the group kind of laid out exactly how you need not so much sell cybersecurity, but position yourself to be the go-to person for this new protection that's needed. So that was a couple of years ago that we saw the need for that, and we partnered with this organization, and we kind of retooled our entire business to focus on cybersecurity. So yes, we still set up the network, we set up the wireless, but the focus is on securing your data, and whether it be in the cloud or still on premise. The key is to keep your data safe and only let those who need to access the data, and not the hackers. So really, I mean, nothing's 100%. So we don't say we don't guarantee. We just provide protection, not prevention.
Yeah, okay.
But protection.
Protection, yeah.
So the key is, honestly, when the hackers come knocking at your door, they want to see that it's too hard, and they go to somebody else who unfortunately don't have the protection.
Right.
So it's kind of a shell game. But you don't want to leave yourself exposed. And it could be something as simple as an email coming in and people click and think it's innocent. And the hackers count on you just doing your day-to-day task. You know, we're creatures of habit. So we come in, we do our work, we boot up, we do our work, click, 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 and we don't pay attention. And the hackers are counting on that. So they'll send you an email that looks like it comes from your boss. We had one customer, the lady was new, maybe in the business only 2 weeks. She gets an email, I need you to go to Walmart to buy gift certificates and don't bother me. So her office is next door to her boss's office. Don't bother me, go do it. And she went and did it. So they told her to buy 10, she bought less because Walmart didn't have 10. They didn't have the 10 cards, she only had 8. So when they get back, I forgot the circumstance how they found out, but realized you've been scammed.
Yeah.
So, and that's as simple as a phone call or go to the boss just to verify. But so it's those type of things we try to help our clients to become aware of, that you, even though you're small, you can still be a target. Matter of fact, we came from a conference yesterday, and it was a quote, and it was saying, it's not that you're too small to get hacked, you're too small to make the news. So small organizations get hacked all the time, you just don't hear about it because they're not big.
Yeah, and do the hackers ask for ransom?
Oh, of course. So there's different ways they hack you. So one way is ransomware, where they actually encrypt your files. So you'll see your files there. You open them, it's encrypted, it's garbled, you can't read it. So they charge you a ransom, which they give you an electronic key so you can unlock it. Fortunately and unfortunately, the hackers are honest. Most of the time, they give you the key. So there's an incentive to pay them, which is bad because now the industry keeps going. Another way is BEC, business email compromise, where, like an example I gave, they'll have you go buy gift certificates, or in one circumstance, they'll hack your email, insert themselves. They don't do anything malicious right away. They wait and they watch the flow of the business. And then the moment you get ready to wire money, they'll say, oh, we have a new bank information. This has happened a couple times.
That's bad.
We have new banking information, just wire it here.
Wow. And
they craft the email so it looks like it's legit because they've been watching. So the industry has truly changed for the hacker. They call it ransomware as a service. So they actually have a business, customer service, where we're going to help you get your files back, even though they're the one who stole your files. It's crazy.
Yeah.
So software as a service, now you have
ransomware
as a service.
Exactly.
Unfortunately, it's very lucrative.
Very lucrative.
Most of the time, they will get paid.
Yeah.
And so.
And you can't trace where they are?
We can't.
No.
It's always in Bitcoin. You don't mail them a check.
Yeah.
It's Bitcoin.
The power is higher than our abilities to decipher that. But
Well, I mean, if it's continuing to be a growing, problem, is there a point where, law enforcement starts looking more into
I mean, the
into
FBI
this?
gets involved.
FBI gets involved.
Yeah.
They.
and their laws,
depending on if it's like a federal bank or, depending on the entity.
Right.
Yeah.
The cyber crimes industry is more lucrative than the drugs crime industry right now. Less risk.
less risk.
You know.
So you have a real incentive to retool your business. If you're on the dark side of the force,
Yeah.
you're like, hey, we don't need the guns.
Right.
We just need some computers. Let's get some guys that can code and let's get to work, guys.
You know.
So I mean,
There's a thing too where if some of these guys started off as hackers and then it turned into
The white hats.
Yep.
working for companies and so on, working even for the FBI.
Yep.
Right.
So
Another problem with that is the hackers are incentivizing employees to plug in a USB to download this link. So if you have a disgruntled employee at a company and they're being offered a $500,000 by this shadowy figure, a lot of employees will take that offer. So that's very hard because employees trust it. They're inside the network.
Right.
So it's hard to find that. So there's ways to help mitigate that as well. But a lot of companies don't see the value because it's not going to happen to me. So they don't want to invest in the tools necessary to kind of mitigate that. But
if somebody offers me $500,000, man, you guys in trouble. I'm sorry.
we're going to have a problem next week at Tuesday. So it's a constant fight.
No, absolutely.
And with AI, man, it's even.
Are bots being deployed for?
What did we just hear yesterday? He said once the hackers learn how to spell, we're in trouble. So now a lot of foreign actors, they couldn't mimic the American culture in writing, but now the bots can do it perfectly.
Right.
So now that's an even bigger problem. And now also, I was reading. You ever get these phone calls where nobody's on the line? You say hello.
Yeah.
They're grabbing your voice to craft an email. I mean, to be able to craft a file so it sounds like you. So now they'll have people calling and it sounds like somebody you know, and it's really AI. So it's really
with his video.
You
see the person's face and
exactly.
Yeah. So voice, you can't even do voice authentication anymore.
Exactly.
Because that can get hacked. So you got to develop new security protocols.
It's
even
constantly evolving.
And the keys for the login.
That's what's driving the whole change. There are more cybersecurity laws that if you are a business, you're going to be required to adhere to. So if you want cybersecurity insurance, which is going to be almost like driver's insurance, like you're expected to carry insurance if you're going to operate a vehicle.
So is that in play right now?
That's where things are going. So
that's where it's heading.
So if you have a business, whether it's a dental office, whether it's a financial institution, whether it's bakery, you're going to need to carry some level of cybersecurity insurance, and with that comes certain controls that you're going to need to implement, and that's sort of where we come in. We're sort of like the blue team side, where we do more defensive posturing so that our clients can adhere to these emerging standards and stay consistent. And so if there is an event, because as Brian said, no one can offer you 100% certainly, but if there is an event, you can be fairly certain that once you make a claim, those check boxes, those 15 or 20 pages of check boxes that you had to complete in order to get the insurance, you can feel reasonably confident that they're going to honor the claim because you implemented best business practices. And that's kind of where that gray area is that's constantly changing. What does that mean? There are more laws, there are more expectations, technology changes, and so maybe what you did 2 years ago is no longer relevant because there's some inherent vulnerabilities with either the way you're doing it, the protocol, or the technology itself. But if you don't know, it's like tax laws. I don't know what changed from last year. This year,
Got an accountant, but
you got an accountant. That's what they do. They focus on it. That's what gets them going. And so I'm like, okay, great. I don't want to know what the tax law would change, but it affects me.
Sure.
And so that's kind of where we are with our clients, educating them that we're not trying to just sell you some snake oil. We're saying, hey, this is legislation. This is almost like having the seatbelt. You know, put on a seatbelt. If you get in an accident and they find out you weren't wearing a seatbelt, they're not going to pay.
Yeah.
That's the first thing they look for, do forensics. And so they're doing the same thing now for businesses. You know, did you have a backup? What type of password? Oh, it's password 123. Get out of here. We're not. We're not
Was there separation of duties?
Exactly.
You know, so so how would the process start? You know, so do you start with sort of like doing an IT audit of the systems for the client?
We're doing a cybersecurity risk assessment. That's the first thing we do. So first we need to, we have to diagnose before we can prescribe. So we have to see what you're working with. And people are comfortable with their network, but they just have no idea because things kind of grow over time.
Right.
You know, you give people, you might have a vendor you gave access to, but nobody turned off that access.
Right.
And it might be hanging out there for a couple of years.
And they have more access to more of your network than you even know, right?
And each individual staff may have more access than they need. So there's a concept of least privilege. We only give you enough access you need to do your job.
Right.
It's not because of trust or lack of trust. It's just best security practice.
Right.
So everything starts off with a cybersecurity risk assessment. We look at the dark web. We look at your email. We look at your network. We look at practices and habits. For instance, people like to store passwords in their browser, and that's a big problem. It's convenient.
Very convenient.
Until a hacker gets access to it, because they have you click on a link, and you're logged in. If you click on the link, within seconds they can read the browser, take the passwords. You don't even know anything happened, and they just wait. So yeah,
that's a big one. So what I'm hearing too, a big part is education and like training of the staff, right? So how does that happen? And you do workshops or?
One of the tools in the stack, so to speak, is cybersecurity awareness training. So it's typically in the form of a portal where the staff, they are fed these videos on a periodic basis, typically once a week. And they're short videos. And they're meant to be entertaining, like little Netflix videos.
Yeah.
So, and it's designed to keep cybersecurity in the forefront of the staff's mind. Yeah. And there's typically like a 4 or 5 question quiz at the end just to solidify what they've just watched. And that's an ongoing basis, so they're constantly aware, because the staff typically just is not aware of what's happened behind the scene. They just log in the computer and click, click, click. But there's a lot going on that they're not aware of, and these videos kind of bring that in the forefront of their mind.
Absolutely. So if there's business owner, that's listening right now, do they have to be at a certain revenue level?
No, actually anybody's a target. There are some targeted attacks, but a lot of these tools are automated. So it probes and see if there's an opening. So at that point, they don't know what your revenue is. They just see that you're open. So, if you're in business, you're a target.
You should tell a story about the record shop.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
One of the companies in the group we're in, it's a record shop in Detroit. And this was right around one of the Super Bowls. So they sell vinyl records. And I guess that's their busy time around Super Bowl. And they were compromised. And they spent, I think they only have 6 employees. In 72 hours, they spent $40,000 trying to get back online because it completely shut down their point of sale, infected their machines, and then they have cybersecurity insurance, so you just can't erase things. Now you have to go through a whole protocol, and you have to follow what they say, else they're not going to pay the claim. So a lot of times what happens is, to get back online, companies will buy new computers and leave the old ones in place so they can do forensics, but set up a new computer. So this kind of happened to them. And they spent like $40,000 in 72 hours. Small record shop selling vinyl records. Who would have thought?
Wow. So, had they worked with y'all, what would have been?
Well, the company, the other IT company that was telling us the story.
Yeah.
He talked to the owner. He said, if I would have talked to you before this happened, would you have listened? He said, probably no.
Wow.
And that's what you're up against. That's the problem.
Yeah.
So that's a big challenge, right?
Huge
Challenge
challenge.
to convince people that they need the coverage.
Right.
So part of the assessment is we show them the risk.
Yeah.
We show them that you might already have, for instance, the dark web. Let's say you use LinkedIn or these other big services.
Sure.
They get compromised all the time. Mm-hmm. So now your information is floating around. And if you're one of these folks that reuse passwords, if your LinkedIn password is the same on your computer, now you can be compromised. So it's not only your hygiene, but it's the people you do business with.
All right.
So
there was this thing that was sort of like you could put it in your keychain and it would like switch the passwords all the time.
Yeah,
they, like you remember that?
That's part of what they call a multi-factor authentication. Mm-hmm. So it's two things. One, it has a number that constantly changes.
Right.
They have those, and they have an app to go on your computer.
Right.
So basically, and we recommend that for everybody, is that when you log into certain systems, in addition to knowing your email address and password, you also have to have this number that changes constantly. So the thought is the hacker won't see this number, and they don't.
Yeah.
So you have to put that number in addition to your username and password. That blocks a lot of the threats. But people, that's too cumbersome. I don't want to do it. Sometimes we sacrifice security for
convenience.
For convenience.
Yeah.
And that gets us in trouble.
I mean, it is challenging. So, but you guys are doing the work. I'll pivot just for a second. So, NTG being a startup, out of Chicago, you've seen kind of like how things have changed with entrepreneurships and everyone talking about IT and startups. I mean, that was something that was very focused on the Bay Area, but now you've seen that growth in Chicago. Where do you guys kind of see the trajectory of your company now that it's in an environment where everybody's thinking about IT?
We would just continue to seek new engagements with clients that in need of our service. We try to focus on the nonprofit space because that's where we started and that's where we've established our name over the years. We have a number of foundations that we work with as well, so they will fall within the nonprofit space, but a little bit different because they are providing funding for other nonprofits. So they become a primary target because they do have, resources. And so, we'll just continue to try to build our brand. And we're actually looking at, rolling out our services nationally, to going into other cities like Orlando and Phoenix, Los Angeles. And so it's just, trying to build our brand, trying to build our client
Any
list.
international plans?
We haven't really discussed international yet, but if the right opportunity presents itself, we'll be ready to to capitalize on that.
No,
God willing, hopefully.
Let's talk about it. I got some leads for you guys.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
All right, cut.
Let's do this.
It's a wrap.
Africa, Middle East.
Hey, well,
Man, I mean, emerging markets.
Emerging markets, yep.
You know.
And I was just there last year. So one of the things that I've seen is there's a higher rate of adoption for Web 2.0 tools, and also using Facebook tools. It's just Instagram and WhatsApp for business services.
Yeah.
So now we're talking cybersecurity.
Yeah. I was introduced to that. I was spending some brief time in Mexico, and where I was staying, they primarily use WhatsApp for almost everything, even if you want to order food. I was amazed. I was thinking it's just a chat app, but like I ordered a pizza or something, it's like, oh, we use WhatsApp. Then the menu shows up. They're like, oh, you can follow the even the delivery, almost like a Uber or down there to use Didi or whatever. But I was blown away. I was like, oh, I thought it was just text messaging, but they're leveraging those different APIs or services within the platform for the business market. And so it kind of opened my eyes that, you know, if they're doing that with these tools, certainly cybersecurity is something that can be leveraged the same way in those markets as well. So,
interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they're handling all the customer service, you know, engagement on WhatsApp, you know, so that it's going to continue, you know, to grow. So there's going to be a lot of opportunities in that area. Talk about the pandemic for a minute. How did that affect your business?
To be honest, it was a boom for us because at the beginning of the pandemic, everybody was trying to work remotely.
Yeah.
For those clients that weren't in the cloud, they were clamoring to get into the cloud as quickly as possible. So we were really busy at the beginning of the pandemic.
So do you think that pushed people into the future?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I would say it was just almost like a warp speed to, evolution of technology because everybody needed Nolan film at the same time. Yeah, it was wild, man. And fortunately, we were in a position where we could, provide the service and respond to that growing demand. And with that great migration to the cloud of all these various clients and people, it also presented other opportunities for us, in cybersecurity, because now everybody's in the cloud. Now, guess what? The edge of the network has gone further than we ever could have imagined, and now it has to be protected. And you have the threat actors, and you have the bad guys on the other end of this equation. Looking to try to gain access to your data. So, yeah.
I would say one thing that allowed us to not only weather that storm, but actually to grow, is the fact that we identified very early on that we needed to change our business model. Absolutely. Whereas a lot of companies that started when we emerged were more break fix, time for dollars. Call us when there's a problem, we're sure we'll give you a good rate. We really stuck to our guns and said that we need to have more of a retainer model. Keep us on retainer. That way we can retain talent, so we're available. Hopefully there'll be less issues because we are available. So we have a help desk. We have on-site technicians that can, at a moment's notice, be on site. And so because we had that price model, that business model already in place for years, it wasn't something new that we were, let's test this out. Let's see who's going to go for it. That was our bread and butter. And so talking with some of those other MSPs that kind of did the break fix, a lot of them went under because people were at home. So they weren't at the business. They didn't have a need to call them out. And some of those businesses even went under because of their clients actually went under because of the COVID as well. So we were very fortunate in that time period where people were obviously afraid and, people lost their lives. And so we had to, be mindful that that wasn't just, it was a boon in some way, but there's also tragedy.
Right.
And so, but fortunate enough for us, we were able to not only weather that storm, but actually prosper in some regards because of that model. In the same way now that we're switching to cybersecurity, I think it will probably serve us down the road in the same manner in terms of growth.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, you guys are always solution oriented, so.
Always.
Well, I always say, man, you can't let the grass grow under your feet in this business.
Especially technology.
Yeah.
Things are constantly.
What we're doing right now, 2 years from now will be obsolete.
Right.
So we'll have to have another podcast in a couple of years.
Yeah. I mean,
new tech.
Humanity and greed and all of that's been around, long
before us.
Yeah. So that is going to continue. So there's always going to be a need, some sort of, security, right?
Correct.
So people would have that Norton antivirus.
Oh yeah.
Install that. I mean, I don't think if you get a Mac these days, people don't even put an antivirus.
That's changing. Even people traditionally thought that Linux was just inherently more stable.
Yeah.
But even that, idea is being challenged because they're starting to create malware specifically for Linux platform where, 5 years from now, Windows, Linux, Mac OS, you're still going to need something else. It just won't be because people don't use it. So things are changing. That's what I said. As you said, it's a constant treadmill.
Yeah.
5 years ago, that might have been true, that Linux was definitely inherently stable because it was less of a ubiquitous tool. OS, it was a niche thing, but now it's right in the forefront. So hackers are saying, well, let's attack the box. So
Yeah, and you said it's bigger than the drug business now. So
yeah, that's insane.
it's incentive. Yeah, I've been watching a lot of YouTube videos of these guys that would set up it. No, that I started as a teenager.
Okay.
Yeah. I used to, y'all remember ICQ?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so I sent a patch file to one of my friends.
Oh, okay.
The minute they open that patch file, I'm in.
Thank you.
Gracias.
Wow.
So, control of their keyboard and all that. I mean, it's just kids that some of the stuff. I mean, or you download this little software to their computer, and then it'll be like, oh, can you log into blah blah blah, and then you can just take the cursor and it will reveal what the password is. And they'll just like, how did you do that?
Yeah.
Sniffer on the network, keylogger.
Yeah, that's what's so crazy because what you were doing, they would classify it as a script kiddie. Somebody that knows where to get the stuff.
Yep.
It's pretty much a black box of how it works to you, but you know how to use it and get the results.
Yep.
But now it's a whole industry where it's like, okay, there's a business model, like Brian said, they have customer service, they have people that develop the tools, people that constantly research and what are the vulnerabilities, where if it was just a script kiddie world, we would be a lot safer. But now it's actually, people putting time and energy behind it and so you got to jump higher and higher just to be more secure. So.
And it's evolved because you have entire businesses that are set up as scammer, networks, right? So recently, a lady called my mother and said, "Oh, you need to do this in order to pay your bill." And I'm like, "What are you talking about? Bill has been paid. No, we're turning off your lights, today." So then she gives the phone to my sister. My sister goes, "Oh, what's happening?" And they call me, and literally I go, "It's a scam." So I'm like, put her on speaker and put me on speaker. Yeah. She hung up right away.
Yeah. And they prey on the elderly.
Yes.
Yes. So senior citizens are constantly targeted. I mean, how do you even prevent that?
Yeah. I don't know. Education.
Just say no campaign.
Just say no campaign. Don't click on that Amazon email.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
So it's 50 years of hip hop this year.
Man,
you guys know that?
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Wow.
So Bashir always had the music system in his car.
Yeah, man. Yeah. For me, the 90s was the golden age of hip hop, as I see it. You had the Wu-Tang, and then you had Biggie and Tupac.
There's a song we used to blast, Method Man and Redman.
Oh yeah, the Rottweiler. That was nice.
There.
Yeah, can't forget about Nas. That was one of my favorites.
Yeah.
Favorite group though is Tribe Called Quest.
Oh yeah, can't forget about Tribe Called Quest.
I mean, I remember it was a Christmas, and I had bought like their first album, and it was a CD. So CDs were new when they were still doing vinyl. I was like, I'm going to save and get the CD, And I remember, man, just playing it over and over, like almost staring at the speakers.
Which album was that?
People's Instinctive Travels of Fast of Funk and Rhythm.
That's the one that had Left My Wallet in El Segundo.
And Benita Applebaum and all that. But you know what? The sound was so different from, at the time, it was like
clear.
LL Cool J and Run DMC and like, went down the street and got a falafel. I'm just saying it was more like real choppy, like, look at my shoes, they're really cool. Right. And then these guys were like, these beats were just more jazzy and laid back, and they sound like regular guys. They weren't selling you on some braggadocio type of. And I was like, man, what is this? This is like, and so that whole thing just blew my mind. So for me as a kid, I could kind of see myself a little bit as part of the whole hip hop thing. You know, I couldn't be LL Cool J. I wasn't NWA, that type of stuff. But this was more like, you know what? These kind of guys, maybe I
relatable.
Provide exactly.
Yeah.
And De La Soul, all that Diggable Planets. That was kind of more my thing. But I listen to everything. I used to DJ back
That's
in the
right.
day. So,
Oh.
I used to
Until you
DJ.
tried to play that one record in the.
Oh God,
What was it? Big Mike? Oh, what?
Big Mike. Yeah, I went to a school where there was a lot of East Coast guys. And from Chicago, we listen to everything.
Yeah, right.
A lot of Southern rap.
Southern everything, man. The school I went to is Oberlin. They had a disco called the SCO, and I used to DJ there. And I'm like, I'm gonna play Big Mike. It was like straight gangsterism.
Straight gangsterism.
So the beat's like really slow, like and all these guys like wearing cars, like, man, what the? Turn that on. What is that? Son, what is
It's
he
too
playing
slow.
at? I was like, all right.
They wouldn't
Put on
listen to
Biggie. Just put on Biggie. Put on some DOS effects. This guy's gonna kill me. So yeah, but back then it was really like, you know, East Coast and West Coast is really like, you know, what do you listen to?
Yeah.
But Brian
Because the
was a
hip hop
DJ
started
too.
on the East.
Yeah.
That's right. Brian was a DJ as
I
well.
go back a little further though.
Oh, okay.
We got two
My name
DJs
was
on
We got
Brian.
two
on the
DJs.
show.
FaZe and Franklin on the ones and twos.
On the ones and twos. It was like,
But in the 90s, I was having children. I got married early, so I was having my third child in 95. So my hip hop goes back to the Sugar Hill Gang.
Oh, no.
Oh, man. Take
Yeah, the bird.
I go back to
the bird.
to the hip of the
He was there when the baby was doing
I was there for the dawn.
Yeah, it was there in the Bronx.
Dinosaurs of rap.
Yeah, you see those guys performing now, they got like crutches and they're like, I'm like, wow, those guys getting old, man.
The hippie to the hippie to the hippie. Nope,
Oh,
nope.
yeah.
And you don't stop.
See, there you go. See, it's sticking with you.
Yeah, it does.
Going back to the source.
It's catchy. Yeah, for me, it was Tupac, man.
Tupac, really?
Yeah, in Abu Dhabi. It was just
Really?
and
That's crazy.
brilliant storyteller. You know, so you just really connected. I mean, Biggie was
Oh yeah,
great.
He was good too.
You know, great too. But Tupac was, I would say, the first one that really
First one.
spoke to me, and
That's interesting.
hip hop. You know, but I really enjoyed Will Smith when he was messing around with, you know, Jazzy Jeff
Jazzy
and
Jeff,
Yeah, I like those too.
yeah.
he was big overseas too.
Oh yeah. That's
American culture.
America. Yeah. I mean, would get a little bit of this, a little bit of, you know, the sitcoms. You know, obviously because the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's right.
It's popular. So yeah,
interesting.
we know we know a whole lot about, you know, Will Smith. You know, and Jazzy Jeff and all that. Soul was really popular, you know, too in the 90s, and you know, but it just really depends on, you know, the kids that I went to high school. You know, the black kids, you know, they would listen,
Listen to
you know,
a
a
lot
lot of that, you know, and the Indian kids, some of them would listen to hip hop, but they were really into metal.
Metal, yeah.
Heavy metal?
Oh, heavy metal. Wow. Oh yeah, Iron Maiden, all that stuff. I mean, we listen to, you know, everything, but hip hop was definitely spoke to us differently.
That's funny because there was, I think for me at least, a brief moment in hip hop where the hip hop and like sort of like the grunge scene like were kind of hand in hand. Cause I remember even in high school we would listen to Pearl Jam,
Yeah.
listen
Pearl
to
Jam,
Red
yeah.
Hot Chili
They're
Peppers,
from here.
Soundgarden, all that kind of
Chicago.
stuff, and they would perform with like the hip hop groups,
Right.
So it wasn't like
Remember Cypress Hill?
Cypress Hill,
Yeah,
Cypress
So it
Hill.
wasn't like that music was so foreign. It was sort of like just, I don't know, like young people's music, different flavors. So everybody kind of listened to everything, you know.
Right.
So you know now I don't know if, you know, like now who's hot now.
Kendrick Lamar. I mean,
I can see him doing
Lil Nas X.
right doing
doing the
thing
country
with like
music.
Metallica or something. I don't know, you know. But yeah, back then there was that brief moment where it was like everything was cool, you know, everything. You know,
Yeah.
So
And plus, everything was shown on MTV, right?
I think that's probably the reason everybody went to MTV. Before we had the box. Remember the box?
Oh God,
You had to call in. Here you used to call in and pay to watch a video.
Pay to see a video.
Wow.
Man, that's
Pay to
crazy.
watch a video.
Yeah. People,
Man.
And you had to sit there and wait for your video to show up. Too.
So we'd be at home hoping somebody in the neighborhood would play like Bone Thugs and Harmony. Waiting.
I can remember seeing that Biggie Smalls video on the box.
Yep.
The first one he did.
Juicy.
Yes, Juicy. Yeah.
That was a whole nother pay-per-view, huh?
That was really pay-per-view. You got paid like per click or per stream, like per call.
Now you just pull up on your phone to watch anything.
Now it's YouTube.
YouTube.
We got too much content
YouTube
now.
changed the world.
Streaming and
So many distractions.
all. Absolutely.
Or a tool for learning.
Yeah.
Hey, you know.
I just saw an app that takes away all the icons off your phone. I think I was telling you about it. And it's just black and white. It's like a skin. So it reduces your engagement on the phone.
Wow.
So it's less distracting. So it's just black and white, yeah.
Oh, wow.
It's an app to de-app your phone.
Sounds like my old Nokia phone. Although I wish I could find that Snakes game.
Oh, yeah, that was the other one.
That was a lot of fun.
Blackberry was mine. I like Blackberry, the Brick Breaker game.
He was the last person to go from BlackBerry.
Yeah,
to
man. I didn't want to give up
iPhone.
my BlackBerry. Man. I like those buttons.
I was loyal. I was loyal too. But I jumped into Android instead of iOS. I only recently got an iPhone because doing IT consultant, right? So I got to see how things look on both devices, right? But I jumped from BlackBerry to Android. And I like that, you know. But it's definitely been an interesting industry that just popped up, Android versus iOS, and was able to spend some time around the Bay Area and Stanford, area, and so they would literally have VCs, come in and teach classes, and one VC would play the role of iOS, another VC would play Android, because it's basically open source, and then you got the other guys, like a close network, right?
Yeah.
So that's something that I'm seeing right now too with AI, spatial computing. Have you guys messed around with VR at all? You've seen the video of the new Apple Vision Pro?
Oh yeah,
Have you seen it?
I've seen the commercial.
Yeah.
One of my kids has an Oculus, but that's the extent of it.
I mean, it's
looks
cool.
impressive.
It's some cool stuff. I mean, I've been messing around with the Oculus thing for a couple of years, now, and it's gonna change the future of computing. For one of my artists, for example, setting up a gallery in the metaverse, right? So he's got his regular 2.0 website. Then now you have a 3D version of your website. That's a gallery. And you can even host events. You can even get paid through crypto to host. So people will pay tickets. You can teach classes, in there. You can build a campus. So we're really close with this company called Spatial.io, and they're doing a lot of cool stuff, in that area. But Facebook invested heavily into the VR space, and Apple always tries to wait a little bit.
Yeah, gotta see what works.
Yeah, and then put in a little bit more time in the research. But the minute Apple comes into the market, people are gonna say, "Oh, now this is cool." Because they define what's cool and what's not, right? People line up outside, camp outside. Yeah. So when that Vision Pro comes out, right now they're talking about $3,000 for that thing, But people are like, "Oh, who's gonna spend money on that?" Oh, people are buying Yeezys for how much?
Yeah, they gotta do it. They said the same thing when the iPhone emerged.
Yeah,
I think what's his name, Ballmer, the VP at that time of Microsoft. Yeah, it's probably some video on YouTube. You can see him making a statement like, "Oh, it's priced too high. No one's gonna buy that. We got our own Windows line of products." Who has a Windows phone now?
Yeah. Man, wiped off the map.
Yep. Yeah, it didn't work out, but Microsoft's making a comeback because they invested in OpenAI and ChatGPT. Y'all seen the Copilot videos?
Yes.
Yeah, that's impressive.
Game changer.
Yeah, and their team's platform and Azure
Microsoft's
platform.
killing it.
Yeah, they're crushing it.
I mean, yeah,
Yeah.
they've redefined themselves.
They redefined themselves. And also purchasing, what was it, Activision, Blizzard, the gaming company. They got Minecraft. Yeah. So it's,
Don't they own LinkedIn too?
and they own LinkedIn too.
Oh wow.
Yeah. They're coming back.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And coming
for
back.
sure. But that
So-
VR piece, man, just really quickly.
Yeah.
The idea of or the concept of using this platform for learning and for cultural exchange. So if I
Absolutely.
can put on these, this device on my face, and then I can see somebody in another country, overseas, and share with them, and learn from them culturally, and they can. That's a game changer.
Oh,
That's
absolutely.
impressive.
So I have a friend that uses it to educate, his kids about Africa, and then now they're asking him when can we go visit Africa, right? Because if you Google children in Africa on Google, you're gonna get all the images from the NGOs and showing
Right.
like all these poor kids.
Right.
But then you're looking at the Oculus and you're like, oh,
Right. There's cities here.
Right.
cities
Right.
and there's
Cities.
this and yeah,
Very nice. Very nice places.
exactly.
Rural and urban.
So
Multiple cities. Not
it's
just
definitely the future of it, education. Plus, you can have kids, from the south side, west side of Chicago, and kids, from Africa, Middle East, Asia, Europe, anywhere in South America, take classes in the same environment. And you can even I can show you how you can teach in there. Like, have you teach a cybersecurity awareness class?
See that?
Kids.
Gather around.
Let me tell you, man.
Don't click.
Don't give away your email
Right.
or your crypto wallet key.
Give it to me.
So you guys have been business partners for a minute now, right? What's the recipe?
22 years.
Mutual respect,
Yeah.
patience.
Patience.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I would say that's the foundation of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's solid, man. And so
We've always been family oriented too.
Yeah.
I would say that.
yeah.
So,
Yeah. It's weird. We actually received some advice from a guy that was mentoring us very early on. And he told us, he gave us advice that we wanted to weather the storm, that we should, even though we were friends, he knew we were friends before we started business. His advice was that we should not hang around each other too much because business can, I can see it has a way of turning friendship sour when there's money, responsibilities, who's in charge, who is, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, there's the possibility that things could, people's feelings can be hurt. And when he told us that, we were like, is he crazy? We were like, why would we not want to? He said, don't hang out on the weekends. Just don't hang out too much because that's when things get crazy. We were like, dude, that's the secret recipe. Like, that's like this, Brian always used to joke, that's like this covalent bond, the strong bond between us. It's like, it's the respect, but it's also real friendship. And real friendship, I think, equates to what he said is you got to have respect and admiration. And I think what has helped us significantly is understanding each other's strengths and weaknesses. And that I always say, if it was my company, we wouldn't be here talking right now. But because there's three of us, it's most of the time majority rules. And sometimes it could be the minority that we say, you know what, you make more sense, even though we agree. Now thinking about it, I think we should do what you say, even though you were the minority opinion. And it works for us because, we don't have a lot of egos. We have our eyes on the prize of building something that's, it's worth sitting down and having a podcast over. So, and that's not something that I could have created myself or Brian alone or Bashir. It's sort of like I rely on them, for my livelihood. And so there's a level of respect and trust that you got to have.
Right.
Otherwise, the relationship, man, is just superficial, So,
Yeah. No, you can't beat a strong foundation, right?
yeah.
Last question. Kids that are trying to get into tech, what's your advice?
Start rapping. No, I'm kidding.
Start rapping.
I'm kidding. Everybody started rap now.
Yeah.
But one thing I see is, and we've worked with a lot of young people over the years, is that if you really want to be a tech, you really have to sincerely pursue tech. You can't just Google something and think you know. You can't just go get a sheet of paper from a university and think you know. You have to spend the time and open the book and read and play and practice. Like I tell my son, he works with us. You have to reconcile these discrepancies. So when things don't work right, don't just reboot it and it's working and now you think you fixed it. No, you didn't fix it. You need to understand why it's broke and what happened, and then so you understand the resolution. So when it happens again, that goes in your database. That, I know what this problem is based on the symptoms. So I think in a nutshell, have to have a sincere approach to technology and not just look to get a certificate or a sheet of paper. Because I know a lady who there was a program during COVID where they were paying for them to go take tech classes. So she passed the Cisco class, but she had no idea how to log into the router. So how was that possible? Because they were getting paid to push people through the program. She was pushed through and got a certificate, but she has no idea what she's doing. So you don't want to be one of those techs. You have to know your limitations, know you don't know, and just sincerely pursue the technology and understand what it is you're doing and not just rely on a sheet of paper.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, that's sound advice. I was always self-taught.
Well, that's what he's talking about. Yeah. Having that passion, desire to learn.
Yeah.
I would give advice to people in general that look within yourself for the talents that you sincerely align with, not just because you go on Facebook or the internet and you hear people saying there's money in cybersecurity.
Right. That's true. That's true.
Because you have a miserable life.
Yes.
And if you look, there are other industries like plumbing, electrician, that can be just as lucrative if that's something you really align yourself with. If that's something you can see yourself doing, because maybe you're an outside person. You don't want to sit in front of a desk all day.
Right.
You like traveling, or you climbing those poles, whatever it takes. I'm saying that you'd probably be much better and ascend to higher heights in that field where you could become very lucrative even as a worker or your own establishment than suffering through a job that you have no interest in just because you heard there's money. Like I always say, if I had to do taxes, I have the aptitude to understand laws, but I'll be miserable having to stay on that treadmill of knowledge trying to relearn tax code for businesses and knowing that people rely on my knowledge to keep them afloat. You know, I would just wake up thinking like, I really hate doing this, but I have to do it because it's paying the bills. So fortunately for us, we identified that technology was a passion. And so I think that if you're young enough, take the time to really expose yourself to different types of work. You know, in IT, there's more than just cybersecurity. There's cyber law. Maybe you're a lawyer. Maybe you're the type of person that thinks outside the box. Maybe you enjoy hacking, you know, or maybe you find out that IT is not your cup of tea. It's something else, but you can actually, you know, pursue it and be excellent in it. So I would say first start with that. Put yourself out there. Find out what's available. Be honest with yourself and pursue that. You'll be excellent. So.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Share.
I would just piggyback on what he said and just say that what I've seen is that the art of troubleshooting has been lost in the OSI model and being able to start from the bottom to the top and work your way through problems. Because that can be applicable to any industry or any field. And what we talked about in terms of hustling and working hard, you know, those things, those characteristics can transcend any field. And
soft skills.
I mean, they're critical. Like with us, I mean, when we try to hire somebody, if you have a lot of technology knowledge or experience, that might not work in your favor. Because we want to hire someone. We want to work with somebody that has the right personality and the right fit. And is this person passionate? And is this person gonna add value to our organization? That's more important. And so, how do you get that? You know, where does that come from? You know, there's a lot of speculation, or you can come up with all different ideas.
You trust them to be in front of a client.
Yeah,
Exactly.
like it's just somebody can they communicate well, you know. So all of these, like you said, soft skills are important, and you know, I've seen a lot of young people today that has been missed, you know, in our experience, you know. I mean, so if anybody's listening and they want to get into IT, I would say, you know, like Tavarian said, you know, make sure that's your passion, work hard at it. Get some hustle about you.
Yes.
You know, and humble yourself and come in and try to work. Come in ready to work.
Come to learn.
Not come in trying to figure out what you can gain monetarily, or what can be, you know, benefit, what can benefit you, but how you can benefit that organization or that business.
Building relationships, right?
Yes,
so
correct.
focusing on just transactional relationships.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's powerful. Yeah, what you said is
Yeah.
that's the key, man.
Yeah. So,
Yeah. I mean, any business that I started, I always tap into the network, right?
yeah, exactly. And like when we started off the podcast, you know, I was saying how you're tenacious and your ability to connect with people and add value, how important that is. And so that would just be my 2 cents to add, you know what I mean, for anybody listening.
No,
Want to get
for
into IT. And IT is vast.
It's
Yeah,
vast.
you know what I mean?
Absolutely. And it touches everything, right? So now you got fintech,
everything.
edtech, health tech, right?
Right.
You know, you guys mentioned General Motors earlier. You know, you got EVs now. I mean, look at these Teslas right now. You know, how many software engineers work
right.
for
It's all tech.
you
Yeah,
know,
man,
Tesla? I mean, my whole journey was when my father bought me my first computer. He said, if it breaks, you're gonna fix it. So.
You are the warranty.
So I intentionally broke it and learned every, you know, component, you know, like the motherboard, like the, you know, what I need to do. And that's how I figured out, you know, hardware, and slowly got into, you know, the software part. I mean, I was programming in DOS, you know, using BASIC and Fortran and all these tools, like this 80s, 90s, old school languages, right? You know,
Those are the foundation. The same.
those are the
principles apply
foundations.
even today.
ASCII, all that stuff. I mean, learned database management through Microsoft Access back in the day. You know, so by the time I came to America in 2000, and by the time I met Bashir, I had all these, you know, skills, and so I could do, you know, that troubleshooting. But then when you guys were building the networks, and, you know, I had them cargo pants from Sears, Bashir would like stick all this, wires. So like, here you go, you know,
tools, everything.
get in there, routers, switches, set them up. But you know, we had the borders and water tower, so I used to spend a lot of time, you know, around there. And I'd pick up this book called Networking for Dummies.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. You can learn a lot from those dummies books.
Oh, yeah.
Brilliant.
I mean, you know,
Yeah.
the name, notwithstanding, it's just
Yeah. So that's how I showed up, you know, and I still do it to this day, you know, every year getting, you know, certificates, doing e-learning.
That's right.
Reading books, you know, just staying ahead of the, you know, curve. And that curve keeps, you know, changing. And so with a lot of young people, I always tell them, hey, pick up skills. You got the skills, you can apply them to any passion.
Exactly.
That's right.
You know, but don't worry about what everyone else is doing on Instagram.
Exactly.
It's a marketing tool.
Right.
It's an amplification tool.
Right.
So what are you amplifying?
Right.
It's a loudspeaker. That's it. You know, so I really, really want to thank you guys for coming on the, you know, show today.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, and I'm looking forward, you know, to all the stuff that we're gonna be, you know, doing with WHA, the Aspire Center, you know, the west side, you know, Somaliland, right? Maybe Abu Dhabi. Yeah, so
looking forward to it. Thank you.
excited.
Thank you.
Yeah, we
We
appreciate it.
appreciate the opportunity.